What is up YouTube, it's Scarido here, and welcome to another reaction video. So today we are doing 2 eerie after-work stories, and this is done by Daily Dose of Creeps. So I reacted to the first video, and surprisingly he actually saw it and actually subscribed to me, so that was really nice of you to do that. So I thought, well, I've already done reactions to, well, just the first one. I might as well do a reaction to the second one. So, here we go. Wow, that's a lot louder in my head than I thought. Make sure I get my light fine. Two eerie after-work
This is Daily
stories.
Dose of Creeps. Welcome to episode 2. 2 eerie after-work stories.
Alright.
Story 1. We're closed. Barber school was finally over. I had gotten my license and my favorite instructor had hooked me up with a job at a well-known barber shop. My first week with my own chair was going well. Even though the shop was located in a bit of a rough area, known for its addicts and shootings, I was still happy that I could finally earn a living.
Well, you gotta do what you gotta do.
That I could save up and move out of this neighborhood anyway. So to me, everything was well worth it. Until one Sunday night. It was just me and my coworker cleaning up the shop. Now, usually, since it was a rough neighborhood, there would be at least 3 or 4 of us closing, but everyone had some excuse that day to leave early.
You would expect that, really.
It must have been an hour before closing time when my colleague got a call. He looked up at me with an I'm sorry face, and I knew exactly what he was going to say. Family emergency.
That's usually the case.
So, of course, he had to leave early. He was supposed to be my ride home, but now I'd have to walk my own butt home in this crazy neighborhood at night by my own dang self.
Yeah, that's not going to be good.
Oh, and by the way, this was before Uber.
Oh, so yeah, it's
So
going to
he
be a little
left
bit
and I
more
was
dodgy.
alone. It was already almost pitch black outside, and I was counting down the minutes until I could leave. I hated being out here on my own. After making sure the back door was fully locked so I could set the alarm, the bell above the front door jangled, and I heard someone walk inside.
That's always not
Just
good.
great. In my head, I was like, are you serious, bro? How could I forget to lock the front door?
Well, it happens
This dude
to all
was
of us.
shirtless, had tats all over his face,
Okay.
gold teeth, and smelled like meth.
Oh,
He
great.
told me he needed a haircut and dropped himself heavily into the chair at my boss's station, staring at me expectantly in the mirror's reflection. At first, I was at a loss for words. He was exactly the sort of guy you try to avoid around here. I was still new and didn't know how best to deal with this situation, so I was kind of thinking on the fly. All I said was, hey bro, I don't know why the front door was unlocked, but we closed. If you want, we can set an appointment for tomorrow, though. He just stared at me in the
seems
reflection
reasonable.
for a little bit. I'm already sitting down, though, he says. I told him as firmly as I could that we were closed for the night, and that he'd have to come back tomorrow or another day. He just kept staring at me, his lips slowly creeping up into a smile, revealing his cheap grills.
Here we go.
So you're not gonna cut my hair? I just stared back at him and said no. Still smiling, he says, okay. Without breaking eye contact, he gets up very slowly and says again, okay. He slowly
you're in
walked
trouble,
out, looking
mate.
back at
You
me
are
over
in
and
trouble.
over again with that menacing grin. There was definitely a lot of tension in the air.
I'm not surprised.
After that odd experience, I finished locking up, I set the alarm, then I started walking home. It was fully dark by then, and I remember feeling a chill on my back, though I couldn't tell if it was because of the wind or my own nerves. It was just a short while later when I heard footsteps. They
That's
sounded
not
close,
good.
but when I glanced back over my shoulder, I couldn't see anyone. That began to freak me out. I started walking faster, and then, sure enough, the footsteps sped up too, clopping heavily against the pavement.
Yeah, someone's definitely following
Someone
you.
was following me. I was still a few blocks away from my apartment, and I was starting to panic. Then, all of a sudden, they stopped. I couldn't hear the footsteps anymore, and the chill on my back abated a little. Maybe I'd been wrong, and no one was following me after all.
Pretty sure someone probably was.
Either way, it didn't matter to me as long as I got home soon. I was just about a block away from my apartment when I hear someone yell out from the alleyway next to me. "Hey, yo, my boy."
Ooh, okay.
This was the same dude from the barbershop. The street lamp here was broken, and his face was doused in shadow.
Ooh.
But I could see he was smiling at me again.
Bit of a Joker grin there.
Why the fuck you following me, bro? I sounded a lot braver than I actually felt. He says, "I just want to ask you a question, man. What time you going to sleep?"
Ooh.
I immediately got cold chills up my spine.
Yeah,
That creeped me
you're
the hell
dead.
out.
You're just gonna be dead.
He said, "Hey, listen to me. Stop following me, dude. I'm being real fucking serious." I told him to leave me alone and began to walk away, but he still kept following me. I figured at this point he was just trying to punk me, since he never did anything but walk beside me, with that weird little smile on his face. I asked him what he wanted, but he just shrugged and kept on grinning like some maniac. I debated calling the police, but I doubted they would get there in time if the guy did decide to try anything. I kept telling him to get lost, and eventually he did. He just slunk away into the shadows of the next alleyway.
That's a bit creepy.
I was nearing home at this point, but I decided to do another circle around the block, just in case he was following me still. I did not want the creep to know where I lived.
I'm not surprised. No
I
one
eventually
would.
got home completely unharmed, and I never saw that dude again. But that whole night was the strangest I've ever experienced. I still don't know what the hell that guy wanted, and I suppose I never will. I just know I really have to get out of this neighborhood.
To be fair, you would have been lucky to have gotten away. Especially
Story
wherever
2.
this is.
The Lemegeton.
Then the Megaton. Sounds like some sort of transformer. Okay, that was a very creepy devil face, but there we go.
A few years ago, I used to work in a school library. Although the kids could be pretty annoying sometimes, it otherwise wasn't a bad job. It was quite chill, actually. I remember I had to stay late one night to finish up some admin work and to tidy away the books that had been left out. Up until that point, I always left early enough that there was still a good amount of people on campus. I never really realized how creepy the library was at night. The school was quite historic, and it was the oldest building in the school by far.
Oh, so
And I
expected
remember
to be
people telling me
haunted.
that it was haunted.
Oh, there we go.
I didn't believe in that stuff at all, but it didn't make it any less scary. Some of the lights were faulty, and the rows of bookcases created long shadows in the gloom.
Yeah,
I
that
had
would
finished
give
my work on the
creepiness.
computer and was clearing away the desks when I thought I heard something. Even now, I struggle to recollect the sound, but it convinced me I wasn't alone. It might have been a whisper, or a breath, or the soft shuffle of feet. I don't know, but it made me stop and call out, "Is someone there?"
Yeah.
I had already checked
Usual
the whole library
response
to
to
make sure
give.
there were no stragglers left behind, and I had locked the doors too, so basically unless someone had a key, it was impossible for them to get in. Once I had convinced myself
Alright,
of
fair
that,
enough.
I carried on with my work. But I couldn't shake away the feeling that there was someone else in the dark with me. I finished clearing up the desks, and switched off all the computers that had been in use throughout the day. I was almost ready to leave when I heard something thud against the floor just behind me.
Okay.
I spun around in a panic, not entirely sure what I was going to see. The main lights of the school were all off, but the emergency lights were still on.
Oh, so you had
I
some
had
light.
no access to this, by the way. It was so dark. So I used my iPhone flashlight, pointed in the direction of the thud. I slowly walked over, and I started to feel a pulse in my head. There was a book on the floor. It had flipped open during the fall, and the pages were crinkled and yellow with age.
So
There was
quite an
nobody
old book
there,
then.
so I assumed it must have just fallen off on its own. I bent down to pick it up, and then I heard footsteps run behind me.
Oh.
I swung around, and all that could come out of my mouth was, "Stop!"
Of all the
My
things
stomach
to
was in
say.
my throat at that point. I was hesitant to point my flashlight any higher than the floor immediately in front of me.
I like the
I
heartbeat
must have
sound
stood
effects.
still for a solid 60 seconds in the dark, listening to the sound of my own breathing. I slowly looked down at the book and dropped it when I read the title. Some weirdo put the Lesser Key of Solomon in a children's library.
Ooh, now that is not good.
If you don't know, it's like a demon spell book or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much it's used to
I just
summon
picked it up and threw it in the
demons,
trash can before
basically.
going to the main desk to grab my coat and backpack. That's when I noticed one of the computers was still on. To this day, I am 1,000,000% sure that I had turned off every computer.
Apart from
I
the one
tried
that
not
you
to
were
think
using,
about it
but
too
yeah.
much, but my mind was already trying to piece together the sounds I heard, the demon book seemingly falling off the shelf on its own, and now the computer randomly switching back on. I knew I'd get in trouble if I didn't turn off the computer, so I quickly went over to shut it down. Then, from the darkness of the back of the library, I heard what I can only describe as the growl of a monster.
Ooh.
As soon as I had my coat and backpack, I switched off the desk lights and practically ran out of there. I shut the door and I was about to lock the doors behind me. I heard scratches behind the door.
Ooh.
I dropped my keys as I fumbled to lock it. Then I bolted over to the security desk. Of course, no one was there.
Oh, typical.
So I just booked it out of there. Thinking back on it, I don't know how I could chalk it up to just imagining things that weren't there.
You definitely
I
weren't.
saw that book, I heard the running, and I heard the scratching. I heard and felt that growl.
Yeah, kind of hard to
I
imagine
can't make
that.
sense of it, and I still lose sleep whenever I think about it. It was without a doubt the most eerie and horrifying event of my entire life.
Well, that was certainly creepy, and that was definitely some sort of demon.
Hey everybody,
That was a bit of a contrast.
Mike here. I've been trying to find the best way to describe how I'm feeling about the reception of that first video.
Yeah, it was a really
I think
good video.
overwhelmed describes it perfectly. My knee-jerk reaction is to downplay it for some reason. Don't even ask me why. I guess I just don't want it all to go to my head and
It's a
inflate
usual
my
thing.
ego or something, because I've seen what that can do.
Yeah,
I'll just
that's
say
normal.
thank you. Thank you to everyone who left an awesome comment. Thanks to everyone who liked and shared episode 1 with their friends and family. And a special thank you to those who donated. I did not expect that to happen for a long time. That really helps with upgrading the studio. It means the world. So thank you. That really blew my mind. And shout out to Gator Martin for reacting to my video. That was awesome. I've been watching him for years and I love his reactions, so go check him out. I hope you all liked this video. It took me way longer to make this one for some reason, even though it was shorter. I'm sure my time management skills will get better as I get used to this.
Yeah, these
So
things
again, I
take-
want to thank
take
you all for
time.
making it to the end of the video, and I'd love to hear what you guys thought about this one. So feel free to do so in the comments. And stay tuned for the next one. See you later.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Mike. So, yeah, that was 2 Eerie After Work stories. So, yeah, I will see you in the next one. Okay, so that's the end of the video. If you liked what you saw, remember to hit the subscribe button, give it a like, and I'll see you in the next one.